are feminists alright? And I really mean this, right? This is what The Guardian published about a week ago. Monsters, Men and Magic. Why feminists turn to witchcraft to oppose Trump. It's deranged. It sounds utterly deranged. It sounds like Trump has actually broken them. There are no monsters, and there is no magic. There are only men that feminists hate. Whether it's hexing the president, chatting in WhatsApp covens, or featuring in TV reboots, radicalized women have been finding strength in the ancient pagan arts. I don't know what to say. I'm concerned that they're calling themselves radicalized women at this point. Like, can we de-radicalize these women? Perhaps, I don't know, call their husbands and tell them to come and pick them up, have a quick talk with them, get them to calm down. This is the time for getting scary, the writer Andy Zeisler told Elle magazine on the eve of the 2017 Women's March. We need to go full witch. Okay. At the dawn of the Trump administration, witches were suddenly everywhere in the US. Were they? Were they really? Neo-pagans used blogs and social media to circulate popular rituals for hexing Brock Turner, the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and Donald Trump himself. Okay, but that didn't work. So like you say, he served less than 3 months in jail after he was convicted of sexual assault, which you spelled wrong, and then Brett Kavanaugh, who was accused of sexual assault, that wasn't credible, and he denies, he got the Supreme Court Justice, and Trump is still your president. So, like, I don't know how to break this to you, but magic isn't real. Now, I know that that's not very reassuring. I know that I'm being rude by saying that it's just complete hogwash. But you are actually, The Guardian is actually printing an article acting as if magic is a real thing to indulge the delusions of psychotic women who don't seem to have anything else going for them, who seem to need to find an excuse for the fact that they have a cat as an accessory. I'm a witch, I'm hunting you, declared Lindy West in the New York Times. She's a fat feminist activist, and I'm not just insulting her by calling her fat, although that is also an accurate description. She's actually a fat activist. Jess Zimmerman and Jaya Saxena wrote the self-help book Basic Witches. Don't mean to. Sorry, carry on. No. In which they explained, if you speak when you're told to be quiet, take pride when you're told to feel shame, love what and who you are, and love what and who you love, whether or not others approve, you're practicing witchcraft. Okay. That makes it sound like paedophilia is a form of witchcraft. I mean, you might love this kid, and you know that no one else approves, but you're like, damn it, I'm practicing witchcraft. Half the women I know call their group chats covens. Well, when half the women you know call their group chats covens, maybe, just maybe, you have gone wrong somewhere. I mean, the witches are not meant to be a good and wholesome thing. That was the point. It's like the villain in a movie is not the guy you're supposed to be identifying with. Trump developed a penchant for tweeting the phrase witch hunt in caps whenever he felt persecuted. Yeah, but it has nothing to do with you, which the conservative political cartoonist A.F. Branco dramatised exactly the wrong way around, with the Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi depicted as gun-toting witches on the hunt for a helpless mortal man. Pop culture exhumed every witch it could find. In 2018 alone, there were high-profile reboots of Charmed Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Sabrina Worships the Devil Now, it's very confusing, and Dario Argento's Suspiria? I don't care. That's three. 3 witches you managed to exhume to sell to feminists, because I guess they want to be part of the dark side? I don't know. This is like saying that I dream of becoming Darth Vader. This is not good. You know that's not good, don't you? In the final days of a 2016 campaign, Trump's opponent, Hillary Clinton, the only woman mentioned in this article I think might actually be a witch and capable of casting spells, the first female Democratic nominee, had been accused of participating in ritual sex magic, well, here we go, attending a witch's church by her female friends. Wow, they're just traitors to the sisterhood, aren't they? By early 2019, religious right-wing groups were accusing AOC of belonging to a coven of witches that cast spells on Trump 24 hours a day. Yes, but we are not taking them as the benchmark of what is sound in the regards to whether spells exist or witches exist. Like, they are also batty if they think magic is real. You are batty because you think magic is real, and The Guardian is presenting this as if we should take it fucking seriously. In a way, this is a tradition. The witch has always been the feminist monster of choice. Doesn't that tell you something about the feminists? In 1968, the group Witch descended upon Wall Street in black pointy hats and cloaks, semi-seriously intending to hex it. At least they're only semi-serious, because now apparently we're totally serious. And still, hexes don't work. They also released hundreds of live mice into Madison Square Garden during a bridal fair. Thanks, witches. The marriage was a recurring target of ire. I'm angry with my husband, and I'm going to become a witch. I'm leaving. Leaflet announcing the action chummily invited women everywhere to confront the whore makers. What, husbands? Yeah, but most women love their husbands. Like, most women don't hate their husbands. I don't see why they would want to. Witches have always been women who dared to be groovy, courageous, aggressive, intelligent, non-conformist, explorative, curious, independent, sexually liberated, revolutionary. Read the manifesto. You're a witch by being female, untamed, angry, joyous, and immortal. Okay, but, I mean, when you say witch, the thing that jumps to my mind is grot bags. And the last thing I want to see her being, really, is sexually liberated. Or, I don't want to picture it. What the fuck is wrong with you? All that, and you didn't even have to eat a baby. Well, that's a good start. Because honestly, I think that if you thought that would get you to your goal, you'd do it. Because witch actions could be done with a small group, and were both fun and political, they quickly spread around the country. Boston women hexed bars. No, they fucking didn't. No, they did not. Nobody hexed anything. Okay? A bunch of crazy women who hate their husbands did something dumb that had no effect. Nobody hexed shit. DC women hexed the presidential inauguration. It did nothing. There is nothing there. Chicago women zapped everything. There are crazy women all over the place, but none of them were practicing magic. Joe Freeman wrote in Reckoning of the Movement. Then no one cares. It doesn't matter. The subversive idea that powered both the witch hunts and the 1990s wave of teen witches, the idea that by gathering together and hatching plots, women might obtain heretofore unthinkable power, that's fucking scary, isn't it? Well, what is wrong with feminists? I mean, it literally is the weaponization, the radicalization and weaponization of what it is to be human. But imagine what these people would do if they actually got the power they were aiming for. Like, they would do such terrible things. Anyway, this has also fueled much feminist organizing throughout history. Men were right to be worried. Feminists weren't literally going to steal their dicks and hide them in trees, as medieval witches were said to do, which was nonsense then too. But that did turn out to be a surprisingly apt metaphor for their work. Oh, right, okay. And although the witches were joking, the witches weren't. You're not actually going to carry on with this nonsense, are you, Guardian? Witchcraft and occultism really were heavily associated with a certain kind of mid-20th century cool. Okay. The fiction. It was associated with fiction. The Beatles put Aleister Crowley on the cover of Sgt. Pepper. David Bowie studied ceremonial magic and Kabbalah. Yeah, these really rich people who have literally nothing better to do and have taken loads of drugs and believe bullshit. That's what this is, okay? That's what this is. Starhawk's 1979 book, The Spiral Dance, quickly became the premier text for self-taught witches. As seen through Starhawk's anarchist, eco-feminist lens, witchcraft was not just a way to acquire magical powers. It wasn't even a way to acquire magical powers, but was a deeply political act. The word witch carries so many negative connotations that people wonder why we use it at all. It could be because you're absolutely toxic people who actually need to see a therapist. Yet to reclaim the word witch is to reclaim our right as women to be powerful, as men to know the feminine within is divine. Yeah, but you're not reclaiming the word, because the word was never a good thing. What you're saying is, you know what, I am a bad person, and I'm going to go ahead and be a bad person. You know what I want the unbridled use of power. That's what I want. I want to never be held to account for the terrible things that I do, or say, or act out in the world. That's what I want. That's my fancy, because then I could go around being cruel to other people, and everyone would just have to fucking suck it. That's what you're saying. Do you understand that? That is what you are saying when you say this. When the witch emerged as a contemporary figure of resistance, it was hard to tell where she came from. Hollywood iconography, feminist history, the coming age of the craft generation, or just the optics of the 2016 election, in which a presumed to be monstrous woman, just presumed, was ritually castigated by a man who led crowds in chants of "Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up." Sorry, I enjoyed those chants. Watching the chants, she's totally beyond the power of accountability. No one can actually bring her to justice. Watching the chants take over the floor at the Republican National Convention, Rebecca Traister wrote, "I was not the only person in the room to be reminded of the 17th century witch trials. Do you understand that she was Secretary of State? Do you understand that she is a politician? It is not that Hillary Clinton is a woman that these people don't like her. There are women chanting that. There are women chanting 'Lock her up.' The fact that she seems to be connected to a fucking crime family. Christopher Hitchens wrote a book on the Clintons called No One Left to Lie To. Okay? There is a meme called Arkanside, because the Clintons came from Arkansas, and apparently something like 50 people in their personal orbit have committed suicide around them. She is responsible for the shit show in Libya. She is a terrible, terrible person. And then when confronted her, she's like, "Ha ha ha! We came, we saw, he died. Ha 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 ha!" That's the person's death. You shouldn't be thrilled about the death of anyone, especially when it led to the re-establishment of slavery and the failure of Libya as a state. Incidentally, the most prosperous state in Africa, just so you know. There are actual things that Hillary Clinton has done wrong. Do you understand this, you fucking ideologues? The new feminist identification with witches seemed to draw from every version of the myth at once. Mystical and monstrous, feminist academia, and horrorcore aesthetics, drawing them together in one angry, intentionally ugly repudiation of American patriarchy. You mean the family. You mean a loving, healthy, happy family that produces healthy, happy children, and that people don't actually want to shoot themselves at when they get to the point where they realise they can't have kids. I mean, this is not what I would suggest should be a model for young women. If I were to give young women advice, it would be, do whatever the opposite of these people are recommending. Right? If they're like, smash the patriarchy, tear it all down, become a witch, cast spells, I'd be like, look, just get married, have kids, and have a happy life. Just be normal, just be a person. Actually self-actualize and live your dreams. Don't just stew in bitterness and hatred like these fucking these radicals. It's so weird that this is being presented as a good thing, because this seems awful for the people who are trapped within it. I'm not in this. I'm just looking from the outside thinking, wow, look at these fucking lunatics. This is not to suggest that witch fever was always admirable or never silly. Oh, really? There was a point in time where being a witch was actually bad or silly? I can't believe it. When was that time, except for right now and every other time mentioned in this article? Just out of interest. Witchcraft, like feminism itself, went mainstream. Well, now it's not cool anymore. And in doing so, lost some of its vital power to shock and disturb oppressors. Oh my god. Just, nobody takes you seriously. When you're casting hexes, nobody thinks that's something real. The spirituality tag of Gwyneth Paltrow's online shop, Goop, contained articles on tarot, also nonsense. Urban Outfitters stocked spellbooks because they knew you'd buy them, like fucking idiots. The makeup brand Urban Decay released an Elements eyeshadow palette decorated with alchemical sigils that you didn't understand, but they knew they looked cool and that you would buy them. It's all capitalism at work. Sephora briefly offered witch kits with tarot cards and bundles of sage inside, which were pulled due to public outcry. Idiocy. Like, let them buy this nonsense. Like, seriously. But the people who were outcrying were pagans. Pagans accused Sephora of trivializing their beliefs. Well, I'm so fucking sorry. But Native American protesters also pointed out that smudging with sage, a practice that comes attached with its own long history of religious persecution, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, wasn't for witches or luxury beauty retailers to claim. Well, actually, they can. They are actually free to sell you whatever stupid nonsense you will buy or people will buy. I mean, you don't have to buy it. You could not buy it, and then presumably the market for that would collapse, and they'd just stop selling it because, you know, no one's buying this crap. Because it's all total nonsense. But the old dark power, the choice to worship something other than patriarchy's gods, to reject and read backwards the narratives of the dominant culture were still there. Yeah, but what are your narratives? Your narratives are destructive, hateful, bitter, resentful. Your narratives are about self-worship. Your narratives are about pride, which usually is considered sinful, because it usually comes before the downfall, doesn't it? Normally, this is when everything goes fucking wrong in a person's life, and you're like, yeah, reveling in it, because you haven't got to the end where you realise, oh shit, I'm barren now, I've gone through my menopause, and my cats just don't come home at night. Sometimes they'll stay out all night, and it's like they don't give a shit about me. But they come home when they want some food. Amazing. The Trump administration represented a breaking point for many women. Here we go. I think that's a very true point. I think there were a lot of feminists who went absolutely bloody nuts with Trump. After decades in which sophisticated thinkers dismissed patriarchy as simplistic or irrelevant, it was revealed to be alive, well and out for blood. Oh god. Okay, yeah. Donald Trump is the avatar of the patriarchy, and he's out for blood. And ethos which still ruled the US government and defined or ended countless women's lives. Yes, it basically knew witch burnings. I know, it's rough. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's an entire paragraph whining about Trump here that I'm just going to skip over. The witch lives between dark and daylight, the safely settled village and the wild unknown of the woods beyond. Metaphorically, the fictional witch does. You live in a major city, in some apartment you can barely afford, where you're tapping out on your own a little article for The Guardian, where you realise nobody loves you, because you didn't form any bonds. You didn't actually open yourself up. Or maybe you got damaged in some way and you're just really resentful and just throwing it at the world, going, you hurt me, I can't believe it. Yeah, you know what? The world is going to hurt you. It's going to, this is something that should be drilled into children's heads. You're going to get hurt at some point in your life. Get ready for it, because it's coming. Learn how to get over it. Learn how to look for the things that will hurt you and avoid them, or deal with them. Handle it. Be an adult, is what I'm saying. The backlash years of the early 21st century revealed to many women something we'd always suspected. Well, backlash? We'd never belonged to that daylight world. Oh, God. Okay, yeah. We had tried, we had worked, we'd been loyal to the rules and values of society as we knew it. Yeah, bullshit. But no matter how far we thought we'd come, or how often our mothers told us we could do anything, we still lived within a system that used female bodies as grist to maintain male rule. Well, there's nothing I can say to that. Absolute nonsense. I don't see what rights women are lacking. If anything, you seem to be privileged. I don't see how you don't have the same or greater self-determination as a man. So I'm very interested as to how you're going to justify this. But of course, you're not. In the story that patriarchy told about itself, we were always going to be the villains. Well, that's because you seem to be the hateful ones who want to tear down all of civilization because it hasn't done exactly what you wanted. And if that was the case, we might as well make some magic out of it. If the village didn't want us, we might as well head out into the woods. Nobody's saying you have to head out into the woods. We're saying stop being a fucking freak. Stop being a man-hater. Not all men are evil. I'm sorry that some men have hurt you, but not all men are going to hurt you. And now you're just indulging in this incredibly unhealthy vanity project that is you pretending to cast spells because there seems to be something wrong with you. There is a fire on the horizon. You can see it burning. Out on the edges of the world, the violence we have survived can be a guide to what needs to change. Alright, yeah, okay. Yeah. Tremendous violence. Okay. The fire that burned the witches can be the fire that lights our way. Doesn't seem very productive. Our power is waiting for us, out in forbidden spaces, beyond the world of men. Step forward and claim it. Step forward into the boundless and female dark. Okay, yeah, alright. Go jogging on your own or something. Like, I don't know. Like, where does this end? Holy fuck. The feminists, just get a grip. Okay, get a fucking grip. And I love, what I love about this is an extract from Dead Blondes and Bad Mothers, Monstrosity, Patriarchy, and the Fear of Female Power by Sadie Doyle. It's an advert. It's a fucking advert of absolute fictional nonsense that feminists pump into their own heads before they go off and do their boring office job.